Have you ever wondered why Ice Spice would drop a new track and it gets stuck in your head after one listen, or why a new Central C record instantly takes TikTok by storm? It's no accident, it's neurology in action. Music isn't just entertainment, it's one of the most powerful drugs on earth, and the wildest part, you don't even have to take it, your brain does it for you. When you hear a song you love, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical triggered by food, sex, and yes, even drugs. But it goes deeper. Scientists have proven that certain sound frequencies can make music physically addictive, hijacking the brain's reward systems. So the question now is, can you engineer your own music to hijack people's brains? What if I told you that a specific set of frequencies could make listeners feel euphoria, anxiety, or nostalgia on command? Or that your album cover alone could rewire somebody's brain before they even hit the play button? In this video, we're breaking down the psychology of sound, how frequencies, melodies, and even visuals can make your music impossible to ignore. Because if you're not thinking about how your music affects the brain, someone else is. Let's dive in. Music doesn't just sound good, it's a full-blown brain-altering experience, a drug that rewires your emotions, memories, and even your body. Let's start with dopamine. When you hear a song that you love, your brain reward centers light up. Scientists at McGill University discovered that listening to your favorite music releases as much dopamine as eating your favorite foods. This is why some songs feel so euphoric. They're chemically no different from a dopamine hit, and that's just the beginning. Music can also trigger serotonin, the feel-good chemical. That's why uplifting songs can instantly boost your mood, while minor chords or slow tempos can sink you in nostalgia or sadness. And then there's oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Have you ever felt closer to someone just by sharing a song? That's not random. Oxytocin builds trust and emotional connection, which is why music can make you feel connected to a total stranger at a concert. But what makes some songs stick to your head like glue? That's called the earworm effect. When a song has the perfect balance of simplicity and repetition, your brain just literally can't let go. Catchy hooks, rhythmic patterns, and unexpected chord changes trick your memory into looping a song over and over. Even more fascinating, music can rewire the brain. Studies show that musicians have stronger neural connections between the left and the right hemispheres, and even non-musicians can develop new pathways just by listening to complex music. So if music can control emotion, memory, and even brain structure, what happens when you start using that knowledge on purpose? That's where frequency hacking comes in. It's not just the melody or the lyrics that make a song addictive, it's the frequencies hidden inside the music. Scientists have found that different sound frequencies can directly influence human emotions even without a melody or lyrics. Low frequencies below 100 Hz, like deep basses, can make people feel grounded, intense, or even anxious. Mid-range frequencies between 400 and 700 Hz sit in the human voice range, making pop vocals ultra catchy. High frequencies above 5,000 Hz create excitement, euphoria, and alertness. And then there's 432 versus 440 Hz tuning, a hot debate in music theory. Some claim that 432 Hz feel more natural and calming, while 440 Hz is sharper and more energetic. A study found that 432 Hz may actually lower some heart rates, but the jury's still out. And then there's binaural beats. When two slightly different frequencies play in each ear, your brain perceives a third frequency, sinking in the brainwave states like focus, relaxation, or sleep. Some producers intentionally embed these effects into their music, so frequencies can manipulate emotions. What happens when you combine sound and visuals? Artists like Pink Panthers are massively applying these psychological hacks. Think about why her nostalgic and fresh sound hooks millions instantly. Frequency, visuals, emotion, every detail is intentional. Believe it or not, your album cover could be rewiring someone's brain before they even press play. Humans are visual creatures, we know this. We form first impressions within 13 milliseconds. That means an album cover isn't just an image, it's a psychological weapon. Red can create feelings of passion and urgency. Blue creates nostalgia and calmness. Black and white, minimalism, mystery. Faces trigger emotional connection, while distract designs create curiosity, making people crave closure. Some covers even use optical illusions or subliminal imagery to increase memorability and emotional impact. So what happens when you combine sound and imagery with psychological intent? You create an entire sensory experience. Now, if you think only musicians are using psychology to make music addictive, I want you to think again. Major labels and streaming platforms are using AI, big data, and neuroscience to predict which songs will be hits before they even drop. The real question is, though, Are they using AI to predict hits, or are they using it to control what you listen to? Have you ever wondered why certain songs are placed on massive playlists while others just disappear? It's not random at all. Spotify tracks everything. They track how long you listen before skipping, which part of the songs you would play, even what time of the day you listen to certain moods. If a song has a high skip rate in the first 30 seconds, the algorithm buries it. This is why labels now front load their hooks and beats. They know that they need to grab you instantly. Companies like Musical.ly, before it became TikTok, and hit predicting AI startups use machine learning to analyze thousands of successful songs. They break down the tempo and key. Quick fact, most Billboard #1 songs fall between 120 to 130 BPM. They also break down the chord progressions that trigger emotional highs, lyrics that use specific emotional trigger words. Then they test unreleased tracks against this database before labels invest in the song. If it doesn't match the hit formula, it might never see the light of day. And that raises another question. Are labels creating music or just manufacturing what the algorithm wants? Some companies are even scanning people's brains while listening to music. Neuroscientists have used scans to measure how music activates the pleasure centers of the brain. Record labels and streaming platforms are experimenting with this data to predict how songs would generate stronger emotional responses and keep listeners engaged longer. At what point does science stop predicting what we like and start telling us what to like? So what can independent artists do if labels and streaming platforms are using neuroscience to control what music gets heard? How can independent artists fight back? The truth is, you can hack the same system. Instead of letting the algorithm control your music, you control how the algorithm sees you. If you want Spotify to push your music, make sure the song hooks listeners within the first 5 seconds. The algorithm watches who skips, who stays, and how long they listen. Craft intros and grab attention instantly. On a platform like TikTok, short, catchy hooks get songs trending faster than ever. Viral moments don't happen by accident, they're engineered. Think about how many trending sounds are bite-sized, looping, and instantly recognizable. AI can analyze hit songs, but it can't replicate raw, authentic storytelling. That's literally your edge. Emotion beats the algorithm every time. Do your best to make music that makes people feel something, not just fit inside of a formula. And more importantly, own your audience. Platforms change, but your email list, your direct fan engagement, and your community are forever. If you let these streaming services or label control your exposure, you'll always be playing by their rules. Music isn't just about creativity anymore, it's a game of psychology. So if big labels are using science to manipulate listeners, why not learn that science yourself? Now that you know that the industry uses science to manipulate music, how can you use those same principles to your advantage? Here's how. Music that triggers dopamine keeps people coming back. You do that by building anticipation. Hold back a drop just a little longer than expected, or hit them with a satisfying payoff that feels like a reward. The best songs keep listeners on edge, craving a resolution, and that's what makes them addictive. The way you use frequencies matter too. Deep basses hit people in their chest. It creates intensity and weight. Mid-range frequencies bring warmth and make the human voice feel more personal. High frequencies add energy, excitement, and brightness, which is why hi-hats, soaring vocals, and shimmering synths, they lift the track up. If you learn how to control the frequencies, you can control how people feel. Lyrics and melody are just as psychological. Repetition wires a song into memory. Rhyme and flow make words feel satisfying, and throwing in an unexpected switch up keeps the brain engaged. The moment a song becomes too predictable, the mind starts to check out. But it's not just sound, it's sight too. Your visuals are shaping the way people hear your music before they even press play. Album artwork, branding, colors, and imagery prime a listener's emotions before a single note hits. Music isn't just something you hear, it's felt. The best artists don't just make songs, they engineer how they make you feel. Music isn't just art, it's science. We've broken down how dopamine, frequencies, and visuals make music addictive. Whether it's a hypnotic beat or an iconic album cover, everything shapes how we experience sound. Now that you got the cheat code behind music's addictive power, what will you create next? What's your favorite song that feels like a drug? Drop it in the comments. I want to know what track hijacks your brain. If you've just discovered your music's next advantage, smash that like button. It boosts this message so more independent artists can beat the algorithm. And if you think this is deep, this is just one part of how music controls the brain. Because after today, you'll never just listen to music, you'll know how to engineer it. See you in the next one.